Hello Vishek, something is wrong with this cloud solution AZURE, or maybe it's the fault of my Apple. Can we meet on Skype and talk about it?
Hello and welcome back to Polar Accent Maker, your professional accent coach. Believe it or not, but today we will get a bit more serious and talk about the names of the IT software and programs. Many of my clients are exactly from the IT sector, and they often tell me that they tend to struggle with particular names of software, programs, or even brands. However, I will make another film exactly about the most popular American, English, and international brands. Today I've decided to put these names in the chronological order, which means that we will start from the easiest ones and we will go slowly to the most challenging ones. Many of you use these names on a regular or everyday basis. Let's see if you get them right. Our first word is this one. And we don't say Java. In the British accent, we say Java. Java with a very long R, jar, and a very reduced final A. Java, Java. However, in the American accent, we do something totally different. We say Java, Java with a very broadly open mouth, Java. So in British accent, we say Java, and in the American one, we say Java. And another very popular word. I've heard different versions. I've heard Apple, somebody even told me that they say Apple because Apple produces iPhone. So that was the logical correlation. I'm very creative. No, we say simply Apple. Apple, exactly like a name of a fruit. Apple, very broadly open mouth. Apple. In the American accent, you do something very similar. You open your mouth a little bit more and you say Apple. Apple and many other famous brands are enlisted in my other films about the most popular English, American and international brands. I give you the link in the description of the film. And another easy one. I don't know why, but for some reason, many Polish people tend to say Scape with an E, Scape. I have no idea where it comes from. Why would you say it this way? Skype, even in spelling, looks like sky, like the blue sky. And generally even the logo of this program is blue, exactly as blue as the sky. We pronounce it in a similar way. Skype is like sky, Skype. Many potential clients who call me very often ask me if I give lessons over Skype. And then I feel like correcting them and saying that actually, no, I don't give private lessons over Skype, but I do give private lessons over Skype. So it's Skype. And another word, still relatively easy one. It's not Oracle or Oracle or Oracle. It's simply Oracle. Oracle. You don't pronounce final E, you say col. So simply imagine that this E is not there. Oracle. But also you don't pronounce A like A. So you don't say ora, but you say aura. Aura. Oracle. Oracle. 2 syllables are reduced. Oracle. And we pronounce R in both British and American accent. Oracle. Oracle. And now the situation starts to get a bit tricky. Because this one seems to be very easy. It's Internet Explorer, right? Actually, not really right. We don't say internet, but we say internet. In the British accent, we say internet, so you don't have E but E. And you don't say inter, but you say inter, so you need to reduce the syllable, and then you stress net. Internet. Whereas in the American accent, you say enter, pronouncing very strongly re, however, still reducing middle syllable, enter, and stressing net, internet, but many Americans will actually skip middle T and they will say internet, exactly the same way they would say interaction and interview. So you can say in American accent, internet or internet. And the second word, it's not exploded or exploded, it's explorer. X, we have I, not X, not X, I, explorer. Explorer without final R in a British accent. Explorer or explorer, explorer in the American accent. Internet, explorer, internet, explorer. And another extremely popular software, which is not Photoshop. I know that in Polish you can say photo, but in English we say photo, so you need to round 2 syllables. Photo, photo. That's why you say Photoshop, Photoshop. And you might start asking me, okay, but who cares? I mean, everybody will understand me if I say Photoshop. I mean, what's the difference? It's just a matter of one sound. But you know, sometimes this particular one sound can make all the difference. If you say bed instead of bad, you'll have a completely different word. If you say bat instead of bad, you'll have a completely different word. And when you say in Polish, for example, będzie instead of będzie, of course everybody will understand you, but how will it sound? You can also say 500 instead of 500, but how will it sound? The same situation is here. We say photo and Photoshop. Photoshop. And in the American accent, we say photo, photo with a very strong American T, Photoshop, Photoshop. Some Americans might even say Photoshop, Photoshop with A, Photoshop, Photoshop. And another one that is difficult for many people who say ADOBE. So they simply pronounce it the way they say it, ADOBE. No, it's not ADOBE because English is not a phonetic language, so simply you pronounce things usually differently than the spelling would suggest. So we say Adobe. Adobe, you have schwa at the very beginning, then you need to round O and you have B. Adobe. Adobe, and in the American accent a little bit more closed, Adobe. Adobe. Our next word is the name of an extremely popular programming language, which is not Visual Basic, but it's Visual Basic. So what happens? You don't say V like widełki, but you say V like visual. And then you need to reduce the ending. So it's visual, not visual, but visual. You need to close your mouth. Visual, visual. And then you don't say basic, there is no Z. We say basic, there is S. Do you remember my film about the traveling words and all-inclusive? There wasn't any Z there either. It was all-inclusive, like jak syf, not all-inclusive. And logical situation we have here, there is no Z in basic, there is S, basic, like sick. And we can think of a sentence, I am sick, when I hear the mispronunciation of the word basic. It's basic. So the name of the language is Visual Basic. Visual Basic, same thing in the American accent. Another name of a very popular program is this one. Polish people usually say CORELDRAW, CORELDRAW, CORELDRAW. Both of these words are mispronounced here. It's not COREL, guys. It's COREL. It's COREL or COREL, but you stress the second syllable. COREL. And when it comes to the second one, it's not DRAW, DROW, DROW. There is no W there. Whenever you have AW, you say O, like draw, like raw, or like law, because low means something totally different. And that's why we say CORELDRAW, CORELDRAW. In the American accent, you say CORELDRAW or CORELDRAW with a. CORELDRAW or CORELDRAW. And there is also a variation of this program, which is COREL Painter, COREL Painter. But in the American accent, we would very often say COREL Painter, COREL Painter, or even without any T, Painter, COREL Painter, like painting. So we have CORELDRAW or COREL Painter, CORELDRAW, COREL Painter. Another word is this one, and this is not python. You don't pronounce it the way you would in Polish. It's not python. You have to say python, python. There are three potential difficulties here. Number one, you don't say p, but you say pie, like an apple pie. Number two, you don't say t, but you say th with your tongue in between your teeth, th. And you don't say ton, but you need to reduce this ending, so you say tin. Python, python. When it comes to the middle th, I know that it's so difficult and problematic for many people. Many people feel some kind of inhibition. They feel awkward or even stupid just knowing they need to stick out their tongue and put it in between their teeth. But guys, that's the way we simply pronounce it. You stick out your tongue, you place it in between your teeth, and you press the air without making any vibration with your vocal folds. You say s. And don't be afraid that you will look like idiot, because you simply won't. And I have some little help today to illustrate how we should do it. So this is Johnny. Hello, I'm Johnny. And Johnny will help you how to do it correctly. So guys, you need to stick out a little bit your tongue. You need to squeeze it with your tongue, just a little bit, not too much. And you need to allow the stream of air to go outside so that you can feel this little vibration on the very brink of your teeth and tongue. If you do it like this, without exaggerating and doing anything like that, you will do it correctly and you won't look like an idiot. I mean, does it look like an idiot? It doesn't. It's like python, python. Ja wiem, że wielu polskich nerdów i geeków nie będzie chciało sobie robić wiochy przy kumplach i mówić, zrobiłem to w Pythonie. I jeśli mówicie po polsku, no to nie musicie już wstawiać tego języka, ale chociaż mówcie w Pythonie albo przy pomocy Pythona, bo mówiąc przy pomocy Pythona, to brzmi to cokolwiek dwuznacznie. And now a really difficult and a really tricky one. So it's not AZURE like AZORY, it's not AZURE, AZURE like abajur or żur z kiełbasą. It's how to pronounce it, because you know guys, there are around 6 or 7 potential official versions of pronunciation of this word. But when it comes to the platform itself, we usually say AZURE, AZURE. But in the British accent, you might also come across something like AZURE or AZURE with a stress on the second syllable. However, this is rather more posh, elegant version of this word, and usually a little bit older people would use it. AZURE or AZURE, and we would rather relate to their blue or maybe blue color not really the name of the platform itself, because the platform is American, so we usually relate to the original American pronunciation, and in the American accent we pronounce it like AZURE. Hence, in the British accent we will also go for something like AZURE more than AZURE or AZURE. So in the British accent we say AZURE, and in the American one we say AZURE, AZURE. So AZURE is with a very broad A, AZURE, exactly the same way we pronounce A in apple or A in Amazon. So A, AZURE. However, don't be surprised when you hear some Americans who say AZURE, AZURE, like Asia. It's also correct and it's also possible. AZURE or AZURE. And the last one, most probably the most difficult one, which is, yeah, such a strange creature. So the basic word is not alias, but alias. A like alien and reduced ending, alias. So the gerund form is aliasing, aliasing and anti-aliasing, anti-aliasing. However, the Americans might say both anti-aliasing, but also they might say anti, like for example, antitrust or antibiotic. So they might say anti-aliasing or anti-aliasing. Both of them are correct. So we have anti-aliasing or anti-aliasing or anti-aliasing. Well done! You've just covered with me 12 really tricky names of the IT brand software and programs. So let's have a quick recap on what we've learned today. Okay, so today you've learned how to say correctly Java or Java, Apple, Skype, Oracle, Internet Explorer or Internet Explorer, Photoshop or Photoshop or Photoshop, Adobe, Visual Basic, CORELDRAW or CORELDRAW, Corel Painter or Corel Painter, Python, Azure or Azure, aliasing and anti-aliasing or anti-aliasing. And that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this relatively challenging lesson, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe and follow me on my other social media profiles. I hope to see you again. Goodbye.